Hello everyone, this is Hellession. I'm here to bring you one message. Say no to daylight saving time. This video is being posted at a special period of time, when something both very disruptive but also maybe warm happens. As of the making of this video, Europe, Mexico, Greenland, and some countries of the Middle East have already switched their clocks back. But the rest of the Northern Daylight Saving Time world, which is basically the US and Canada, didn't. These two, rebellious? Let's call it that. These two rebellious countries only switch their clocks around a week after everyone else in the Northern Hemisphere. Keyword Northern Hemisphere, because the Southern Hemisphere has some countries that follow Daylight Saving Time, except in reverse, and they switch at completely different times. This complete and utter lack of synchronization is a landmine for event planning internationally. Ignorant Americans, who serve their content worldwide, but are attempting to specifically cater to Americans, probably put out the standard time abbreviation for all their events, causing the rest of the world that doesn't know when exactly America switches to constantly fuck up with planning, especially Europe right now, and the same could happen vice versa. This is just one of the problems with daylight saving time, which begs a question: why are we still using it? The times have changed, and in many ways, the previous centuries would have never expected that. Yet we're still sticking with the ways of old. Whether you choose to stay in winter or summertime year-round doesn't matter. It's best to just leave the clock switching. In the next several minutes, I will cover the reasons why daylight saving time is detrimental and needs to be put out of its misery. A strong argument for daylight saving time is that people get more time to spend in daylight off work. If this is indeed the case for humans, then why not stay in summertime the whole year round? Why does the switch need to happen? Winter isn't the time pro-DST people appear to care about. Why does it matter that you switch back to standard time every year if the day is already short by then? What this also doesn't cover is that the world is trending to make this more and more false. The world is getting lonelier and more attached to their homes. Like, haven't you seen what happened this year? This year may be an anomaly, but a lot more people are getting used for online education and remote work, as if there weren't enough people like that already. But okay, even if people work remotely or together, they still get to have more free time in the sun, right? Well, this leads me to the final point against this whole saving daylight argument. As a lot more people tend to work on their own, control their own schedule, and there's many diverse ways people can plan their days, why? Why is daylight saving time enforced for everyone? Why? Scheduling is a man-made concept. The whole reason daylight saving time became a thing is because the dumb as fuck primate brain humanity ended up with a schedule that, according to themselves, didn't give them enough daylight. Instead of shifting their own schedules to fix this, they choose to enforce 2 shifts of clocks twice per year. What a big brain idea. Mind wearing that clown costume for work next day? Either way, I believe those who do want to continue following daylight saving time should enforce it on themselves. Don't force it on everyone. I, for example, literally don't give a fuck about switching clocks, because I don't depend on daylight. And I bet millions of people don't either. Scheduling is a man-made thing on an individual level. Please don't spread it to the community. Daylight saving time has been claimed to save energy, because less energy is being used during nighttime thanks to weird-ass human schedules. The problem here, however, is the research is mixed on it. In a previous video I made about the same subject, I mentioned energy consumption and brought research articles to light which were mixed in their findings. However, articles that I can find which talk about it say that measuring energy consumption is hard, so take this with a grain of salt. Unfortunately, it is not known whether energy is being saved with daylight saving time. But let's look at this from a philosophical point of view. I've previously mentioned that it's connected to human schedules, but as said before, because more people are becoming self-employed, self-sustained, and tend to work at home, their schedules aren't tied to sunlight, and because of that, they may stay up, using more lights and shit. So, as time passes, because more people become independent, or as menial 9-to-5 jobs get replaced with you know what, the light usage argument may become less and less true. Daylight saving time's effect is mixed for your health. On one hand, because of the people who aren't affected by the loneliness wave and still have the hope and motivation to exercise, in conjunction with the first chapter, people get more time to exercise and spend time outside, apparently. On the other hand, heart attack risks go up after the clocks are moved forward. Suicide rates have been observed to go up in Australia from the same action, and on top of that, your sleep schedule is knocked out of the park, especially for the spring switch. I, myself, as a master of having a fucked up sleep schedule, get a punch into the guts every time I notice that an hour suddenly goes missing in spring, and there is no way in the world I happen to be alone in this. Do you really want your sleep schedule to get more and more fucked, only because of this switch? Either way though, daylight saving time's effects on health is one part where I'm completely mixed. If I give most of its consumers the benefit of a doubt that most people are still in the healthy phase of their life. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the pettiest, but also the most heated argument of the entire video. Personally, I think this argument is partially the reason why I care so much about the subject in the first place, which makes it all the more petty. But hey, it still remains a great reason why daylight saving time is complete shit. Yes, here's my favorite part of a rant. Time zones. I really don't know how I ended up being such a time zone nerd, but I get a constant sigh in my head every time I see people call an event as running in standard time, even though everyone is in summertime. But here's the thing. No matter what, nothing will change the fact that daylight saving time single-handedly creates an entirely new time zone for every unique time zone that fucking follows it. Time zone business is already annoying for so many people, and you make it even more complicated. But Hellession, these are the same time zones. Stop being a whiny bitch. Who cares about these? No, they're fucking not. And why do they even exist if they're not time zones? But okay, you want to be ignorant towards the difference between time zones, right? Then tell me, what would you do when you switch clocks forward earlier than Europe, try to plan an event with them, and then Europe happens to miss it? What will you blame then? Will you dismiss it just because it's only like 20 days per year? Yeah, who cares? 20 days per year? Pfft, that's nothing. Never mind the fact that it's 2/3 of a way to a month. Who cares about it? It might not be dangerous for a typical layman, but it can be damaging to those who actually work with time zones, like a real job. Like businessmen and companies, arranging meetings all over the world and internationally. It can be damaging for events that offer actual materialistic value. And when you disregard the way time zones and daylight saving time work, you fuck up. You could risk losing lots of money. 20 days is a lot in my opinion. But it gets worse. So far, I've been talking about the Northern Hemisphere, but Southern Hemisphere has regions utilizing daylight saving times as well. And, you guessed it, they switch at different times. So, on top of their switches being in reverse, they add a new variable to the whole clock switching phenomena, making October and March complete AIDS-riddled times for planning at worldwide events. And here's the thing, barely anyone knows this part about time zones. To prove that, let me display a college of people citing wrong time zones for events. This is wrong, 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 wrong. What? All but wrong. Close enough. Wrong again. Try again later. Very old and wrong. Less old but self-explanatory. This is not correct anymore. And finally, wrong. But this is how it should be. There's probably countless more examples, but you should get the gist. People get time zones wrong almost all the time because they don't know this is a thing. That when switching clocks, your time zone switches too. They also don't know that for some reason, the USA and Canada switch with a 1-week delay compared to the rest of the Northern Hemisphere daylight saving time world. Here's another fact, by the way. Let's say you traveled from wherever you currently are to Mexico City on the 20th of October this year. Mexico City would be 5 hours behind Coordinated Universal Time until the 25th of October. 5 days later, after arriving, you would switch your clocks backward to Winter Time and be 6 hours behind Coordinated Universal Time. After the 25th of October, you would then move to Dallas, Texas, which is close to Mexico City in terms of longitude. Presumably, because they are both close to each other in terms of longitude and get sunlight at pretty much synchronized times, the two places would have the same time, right? Well, they do. On any other time than this. Because the US is still on daylight saving time. Mexico switched, but the US didn't. So you have to move your clock forward by 1 hour again to be at UTC-5 until a week later you need to switch it back again. Fucking amazing. This is some clock switching speedrun strats. Just don't look at Arizona. I want to keep the record. And this just begs the question. Why? Just why? All of these troubles, all of these complications just come from daylight saving time. Is it really worth it? But hey, enjoy your arbitrary new sunlight. I guess it must be really worth it. For you. Okay, so when countries stop using daylight saving time, they have to choose whether they'll stick with summer or winter time. Summertime is always 1 hour ahead of winter time, by the way, and is used in the summer during daylight saving time. Which option is better? Is it better to stick with winter or summertime? I personally don't know. You see, if we consider the cons of everything mentioned before, like having more daylight after work for 9 to 5 workers, waking up at times that aren't very bright, and having more free time to exercise and be outside, I'd say summertime is good, especially because we would no longer need clock switches and get to enjoy the benefits that daylight saving time brought at the same time. But I also like winter time, because it's more rational for me. Like, if you follow summertime, then the sun is at its highest at 1 PM instead of 12, which doesn't make much sense to me. Wintertime is the standard and the time that humanity, I guess, started with. So maybe, as a society, if we get to use wintertime, we shift our own standards to fit the daylight patterns. But who knows? I don't feel like the society would want to change towards nature. You can easily tell that humanity didn't want to accustom themselves to the environment by simply seeing that daylight saving exists in the first place. Because of that, I believe summertime is superior. In 2019, the European Parliament voted in favor of abolishing daylight saving time, which is a welcome change. It was initially planned that daylight saving time would be removed in 2021, but thanks to the coronavirus, this is not happening, which is weird because if anything, I would presume the governments would be more proactive during crisis, but whatever. The decision has been made and we are on our way to removing this annoying clock switching. Each European Union country will get to choose whether they stay on summer or winter time, and it will be interesting to observe how they behave. It will generate a new, but at least somewhat permanent map of time zones. However, I believe the biggest battle of daylight saving time is yet to happen, because the other major player, the US of A, continues using their extended daylight saving time, which has been enacted since 2007. Unfortunately, I have no power to control that, because, well, I'm thousands of kilometers away from that patch of land. But those who do have a say, I trust you, to say no to daylight saving time. Over the 5 chapters, I've discussed different effects of this phenomena, and there is one thing that's consistent. Most benefits come from staying on summertime. There hasn't been a single benefit, however, to switching back for winter. Like, what comes from that? In fact, the only thing that comes explicitly from switching is health problems, planning complications, and nothing good. So be ready to support permanently switching to summertime year-round. Not only would you keep the benefits of having more daylight, but you would eliminate the annoying clock switches and ChewBMO videos about how the elderly die from them. If you have anything to say about this topic or any thoughts, feel free to comment them down below. Thank you for watching, and have a good day.